Hello everyone and welcome to My Zone Online School. My name is Teacher Mutsa and thank you so much for joining me today. Our theme this week is family and communities. But before we get into our lesson, it is very important for us to sanitize. Now remember, sanitizing is showing that we are very responsible and staying safe. Make sure that the hands are dry before you touch anything else. Well done. Our lesson today is about family, common nouns, and punctuation marks. So now what we're going to do first is we are going to build our family tree. If you look on page 6, we have a family tree. But I would like to help you first and explain who is who before you use the words in the word box below. Let's take a look at the board. Now we are going to start at the top of our family tree. We have our grandfather and he is sitting there right at the top. Next to grandfather, we will have grandmother. Now from grandmother and grandfather, they sit at the top because as a tree grows, the older parts are at the top and not the bottom. Now we are going to look for mother and father. These are the next people in the tree. So we are going to put father first, just below here. And we are going to put mother where? Yes, right next to father. Now in the same line, because this is the same family, we are going to put our uncle and our auntie. And where do they go? Where does uncle go? If you guessed next to mother and father, you are correct. So uncle is here because grandfather and grandmother have father and mother and uncle as children for them. Let's put auntie next to uncle. Are you still with me, grade 3s? So, our tree is growing. We started with grandfather, grandmother. They had children, and those people to you are either your mother, father, uncle, or aunt. Let's now move on to the next people. Who do you think is next? That's right. The next person that we're going to put on this side for mother and father is sister. There we go, sister. So sister comes under mother and father because she is still part of your family and she is in the same age range as you. Then we are going to put, of course, you. You are either going to be a girl or a boy, that's okay, but this card is for you. So you are going to be here, right next to sister, to show that mother and father are your parents. Now, we have talked about uncle and aunt. They also have children who are probably your age as well. And we call these people cousins. So we are going to take our cousin and put them, the first one, under uncle and auntie or aunt. And then we have our other cousin. And we have a beautiful family tree. Let us now draw lines so that we don't forget who is related to who and how. You are the person in the center of the tree. You are related to mother and father. And your sibling is your sister. They are also related. Mother's father and mother's mother come next. Over here we have the first one, and then we also have mother linked to grandmother. Then we have uncle. Uncle is mother's brother. He married your aunt, and they had your cousins. The two of them have your cousins. This is why it is like a family tree, because when we are drawing it, we are connecting each person like branches. Now let us go back to our exercise on page 6. You can see that we have some missing family members here, and it is your job to fill in the name of the missing family members. Remember, take your time, try to think who they are to you, and you will get your answer. Have fun and enjoy yourself. Now let us move on to our next exercise on page 7. Page 7, we are talking about nouns, but not just any nouns, we are talking about common nouns. And it will be your job to cut and paste names of the correct type of noun, and you will paste them on the spaces provided. But before you do that, let's take a look at the board for a little while. I want us to first know what a noun is. And a noun is a name. A noun is a name. Now it can be a name of a person or people. For example, brother. Brother is a name. Now remember, most nouns, you need to be able to see them or touch them. That's how we know that this is a noun. So we can see a person that we call a brother and we can touch them. But because this is the time of coronavirus, please make sure that you maintain your social distancing. Let's move on to the next naming word. It can be a place. For example, a city. Now, a city is where you actually live for most of you, the city of Windhoek. And there are other cities across the world that are also places. Remember, a noun is something that you can see or touch. You can actually see a city. And then lastly, we have things. But I did not write anything there because things can be anything. For example, my bottle is a thing, so it is a noun. The sanitizing bottle and even the sanitizer itself. Why? Because we can touch it and see it. So it becomes a common noun. Now, you are going to do the following exercise. You are going to cut out your words carefully with a pair of scissors, and then you are going to paste with some glue the correct names under the correct type of nouns. And when you are done with that, make sure that it is neat and you wash your hands. Let's now go to page 9 for our last exercise. On page 9, we are talking about punctuation marks. Now, punctuation marks are very important, grade 3s, because they help us construct sentences. Remember, letters make sounds, sounds make words. And when we put those words together, they become sentences. Now, we don't just put words together and not end them correctly. We need to use the correct punctuation marks for each of the sentences. Let's take a look at the board. Now, the first one that I know you already know how to use is the full stop. And we use a full stop to end a sentence. It can also be used to separate two sentences. If it was one long one, we can put a full stop to start another sentence so that they make sense. And this is what a full stop looks like. The next one that we may not know is called an exclamation mark. Let's all say exclamation mark. Yes, it's kind of tricky in the mouth, but if you keep on practicing, you'll be able to say it. Now, an exclamation mark is used when we are surprised or we're trying to emphasize, make a strong point in the sentence. It can even be something like, oh, stop that bus! And you can tell that there is an emotion there that is being expressed, which is urgency. So we use an exclamation mark when we want to put a strong point across. Then the last one that I'm sure you also know is the question mark. We use the question mark at the end of a question, not a sentence, but a question. So a question needs to be asked for us to use our question mark. For example, what day is it today? We would put a question mark. Let's now take a look at the examples that we have in our booklets. On page 9, it is saying, I am telling. So that means that when we use the full stop, we are telling someone. Then we also have, I am yelling, which means that there is something strong being used as a way of bringing attention. Then we have, I am asking, like what we saw there. Now let's go down to our exercise. You are going to use these 3 question mark or full stop or exclamation mark to fill in and complete the sentences. I am not going to read for you and I'm not going to help you because I think you are clever boys and girls. And when you are done, check your work by reading the sentence you have made using the punctuation mark. We have come to the end of our lesson today, and thank you so much for being with me. Remember, we always need to sanitize at the beginning and the end of every lesson. Now, before we say goodbye, I'd like to invite Zoshi to come with us. Zoshi! Hi, Zoshi. Can you wave at everyone at home? All right, bye, everyone.